I didn't start this by myself. He and I did this together from day one.
It seems like it's important to almost set the record straight. This was a partnership.
It was. Somebody said, I don't understand why his name has to be up on the marquee too. I said, because every song that you love and listen to was created by him.
So many musical collaborators fall apart after a few years. The pressure of success can topple even the best. Pat Benatar and Neil Geraldo, the Romeo and Juliet of rock and roll, have found a way to make it work. They were in love from the instant they met and are still decades later. The couple also loves working together and supporting each other's projects. They were the missing pieces in each other's lives and careers. Keep watching as Pat Benatar confirms the rumors about her marriage. Pat's love life and music before Neil. Pat Benatar has always let love steer her life. It almost steered her away from her dreams. As she describes it, that all changed when a group of her friends dragged her to see Liza Minnelli at the Richfield Coliseum. She immediately knew that performing like that was something she wanted to do. She admits that without Liza, there would be no Pat Benatar. Seeing another woman do it was the push she needed. It encouraged her to make a massive change. She got divorced and quit her job to go gigging. She went around everywhere she could until she found success. Then there was the Halloween of 1977. She was decked out in a costume inspired by the 1953 B-movie Catwoman of the Moon. As she remembers it, quote, I had all this big eyeliner on. I had this little short thing with these black tights and these little short boots and a ray gun. So I had been doing fine having gigs and all that kind of stuff. But I sang in costume that night. It was a whole other experience. And I remember standing there thinking to myself, what's happening here? It was the beginning of her developing her signature style. It was also the beginning of her first record deal, which she nabbed in 1978. How Pat and Neil met. Pat was 26 and signed to a record deal. The only problem was she needed a band to record and tour with her debut album. No one expected that getting one would also lead to true love. It didn't immediately seem like it would work. Ironically enough, he was worried attraction would get in the way of their working together. Neil remembers how he responded when he first heard a new artist was looking to partner up with him.
But I said, well, maybe I heard of him. What's his name? They go, it's not a him, it's a her. And I go, oh my God, it's a her? How is this going to work out?
Pat also remembers that things didn't seem promising when he first came in to meet with her.
And I can hear him talking, and I hear him say that he didn't bring a guitar. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what an ass. He comes here, he's like coming for a meeting. Doesn't he think I want to hear him play?
Everything changed when they met face to face. Any misgivings they had flew away. It was love at first sight. Neil remembers.
She turned around, I'm going, wait, she's 5'1". I love short women. She's got dark hair. And then she started talking and she was super sweet. And I looked around thinking, I've never been with a normal girl in my life, and this person's so normal, so sweet.
Pat had a similar experience with meeting Neil. It was a powerful experience of love at first sight. She said,
it was like every cliched, ridiculous Disney movie thing you ever saw in your life. I couldn't even talk. I saw him. He was a god. I just was like, I don't care if he can play. He's in the band.
The attraction was instant. He said he'd felt he'd, quote, won life's lottery. She says their chemistry was ridiculous. They both asked themselves that cliched question, where have you been all my life? It wasn't just the romantic attraction that pulled the two together. Musically, Pat and Neil were also exactly what each other were looking for. He said, quote, all I was looking for was a great singer. I just wanted to find that so I could write songs, produce, make great records. Pat also knew there was something missing musically before she found him. She needed a band to support her powerful vocals and didn't want to work alone. As she said,
I don't want to be like a solo artist. I want a partner, you know what I mean? So that we can play off each other.
They started out by working on In the Heat of the Night. The album included hits such as Heartbreaker and We Live for Love. The bandmates were pulled towards each other, but the problem was they were both taken. Pat was still married to her high school sweetheart, though she was in the process of separating and divorcing him. Neil was dating the Exorcist actress Linda Blair. They both knew where their hearts were taking them. Neil also confessed on tour that he suspected Linda may have been cheating on him. Pat offered more than a shoulder to cry on, hoping their relationship could begin if he split from Linda. Before long, it did. Pat's management wasn't fond of how they flaunted their love. An available star with her level of sex appeal was much more marketable than a taken one. But the couple didn't care. Their 1981 hit Promises in the Dark put words to their feelings for one another. The secret ceremony. Pat and Neil made their relationship official in a secret ceremony. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision. They were in Hawaii when Neil was mixing John Waite's solo album, Ignition. The beautiful atmosphere inspired them to elope on February 20th, 1982. They even persuaded strangers to serve as witnesses. The judge was the only other person there. Even the honeymoon was quick. Pat had to return to Los Angeles on February 24th to accept her second of 4 Grammys for Best Female Vocal Performance on the song Fire and Ice. Pat and Neil did eventually announce the news to friends and family. She even eventually told the press, saying, quote, "I'm really happy. The setting and the privacy were just what we wanted." They have 2 grown daughters and 2 grandchildren who live nearby. Pat says that working on music is like flying through the air, but her children keep her grounded. She enjoys being able to do both, soaring at times and then being brought back to earth by family. Why they work. Pat and Neil have sold over 36 million albums and have won 4 Grammys in a row together. They also recorded 15 top 40 hits. Pat realizes they've gone about as far as they could go since they started, saying,
and here we are. We got every dividend you could have gotten out of making that first record, a family, each other, a success musically and everything. So, it was great.
Not every couple who tries to collaborate can be that successful. It can do the opposite and tear their relationship apart. What are Pat and Neil doing differently than the rest? What's their secret? When asked about the success behind their collaborations, she said, quote, "We're connected in so many ways, all of them combined together. Your parents, your lovers, your husband and wife, your grandparents, your musicians, your writers. It's so much." Their life today. Pat and Neil continue to make music now, but have to balance it with family life. As she put it, quote, "Touring for us is like breathing. It's an amazing life. But when we're home, with big Italian dinners on Sundays. Familia, that's the focal point." Their last album together, Go, came out in 2003. They also released a few non-album singles and soundtrack songs from 2015 to 2020 and re-recorded Heartbreaker with Dolly Parton. Pat and Neil say they have a lot of available music to record together. They have many tracks stored up to use, but Neil likes to block out at least around a month to record an album. He doesn't feel they have the time right now to do that with family and other responsibilities. The couple is balancing plenty of responsibilities right now. They seem to enjoy staying busy together and have worked on projects you wouldn't expect. Neil has a few solo projects, such as a memoir, an all-star holiday album, working with drummer Myron Grombacher, and managing his Cord Bourbon brand. They also wrote a children's book together recently, inspired by their relationship with their grandchildren. They plan to produce songs as a companion to it as well. Neil and Pat are also embarking on one of their biggest joint projects ever. They're working on a rock and roll love story called Invincible, using their songs as the foundation. It was meant to tell the story of their lives, but then they found a co-writer who helped them turn it into something more. Invincible is a modern version of the classic Romeo and Juliet story. The couple was always called the Romeo and Juliet of rock and roll because the world tried to split them up early in their relationship. They stood together through it all, and in the end, the story was anything but a tragedy. Now it's time to hear from you. Who's your favorite rock and roll couple ever? Let us know in the comments section below.